wobbly ass spot. Ooh, 8 feet under the keel. Be careful how wide we swing, I think. We're on our way. Another country knocked out in the books. Very exciting. Now we can actually go get cleared into Malaysia. Boom, another bridge knocked out, no problem. Never saw less than 30 feet under the keel, so now we just got to motor up 4.2 miles to the Marina, get cleared into another country. All right, we're about half a mile from pulling into the Marina. I just spoke with him on the phone, and he said tie up to the Bravo pontoon, which he said is like the second pontoon from the entrance. He said he'll meet me there and then get me to my slip. One thing that's super funny to me is like, this is the Malaysian side. That's all their mangroves. And then this is the Singaporean side. See the giant fence? Very interesting. So we're set up to tie up to either side. I'm not sure what the situation is on this Bravo dock. My friends Polaris's boat are here, but they're in Ireland at the moment. And then the other American boat, second set, according to No Foreign Land, they're here. I'm not sure if they're here, if they've flown out or what, but maybe it'd be cool to see them. We're only going to be here 2 nights, hopefully. This is also kind of a pricey marina, but we need to get a move on and get up to Langkawi. So let's get in and get tied up. I'll toss you a line. Boom, just like that, we're in Malaysia. He took my documents and said he'll be back at 4 p.m. to pick me up and take me to immigration. Until then, I can go around the facilities here to get lunch and just stay close to the marina. Very casual. Stoked to be here. Very easy. And my friends Polaris are right there. Well, their boat's right there. They're not there, unfortunately. And then this is second set American couple who I haven't met in person yet. We drove by and said hi, but we exchanged a bunch of messages Oh, I did meet them in person. They came by the dinghy, in their dinghy in Belitung, rather. So, we like kind of buddy boated from Borneo up a few anchorages. So, I'm not sure they're around. We'll find out. I'll shoot them a message. But nice to see some familiar boats, and super nice to be tied up in a new spot. With Pine Tree Marina handling all the paperwork for me to clear in, this was just a quick turn and burn. I had many miles to cover and wanted to get to Langkawi as soon as possible. Of course, the moment I leave, it starts raining. Every time. It hasn't rained in 2 days. We're off to start our trek up the Malacca Strait. Our passage today is like 34 miles. Current should be with us. So, see how it goes. That is Banana Island. I'm not even making that up. That's where we're gonna anchor for the night. A very uneventful day. Just motoring in rain on and off all day. A little bit of wind when we're still up in the Johor Strait, but mostly just light rain since we've been out here in the Malacca Strait, and a very big swell rolling in from the north. Originally, I thought we were going to anchor on the north side of this island because there's supposed to be south winds from this time of year. There's no wind forecasted for the next several days, like zero, like this, like totally zero. So we're going to anchor on the south side of Banana Island to try to get out of this big swell. I don't even know where the swell is coming from because all the current and everything's going that way. So that was the other funny thing is like, earlier we were really smashing into this and we should have been doing like 2 knots, but since we have like a serious current with us, we were doing over 4 knots while beating into like a very big short period swell. It was like I felt like on edge even though our speed was perfect. It was like such a bizarre feeling. It's like normally I'm like super bummed with that motion because it means we're doing 2 knots. Super weird experience. I was glad, but yeah, so we're about, I don't know, 4 miles away from the first anchorage. A couple spots we're gonna check out. We're gonna find the one that has the least swell action and drop the hook. I decided just to stick to my original plan and go to the north side because the sea state laid completely down and every note on the anchorages on this side say they're rolly and none of the pins on the other side say they're rolly, so roll the dice, I guess. We'll see how it goes. But everything's very nice and mellow. I just put the main down, put out the headsail, so we have a little bit of assist. We have 1.6 miles until we drop the hook. "24 feet of water." are anchored. Very still. Coming around to this side was definitely the right call. Beautiful spot. Densely jungled island. Alright, we're all set up. Like 4 scope, just over 4 scope out. Very peaceful here. Interested to see if the lighthouse up top is blinking tonight. I'm sure it is. Looks very well maintained. First stop on the Malacca Strait. Lightning is one of the most unnerving dangers a sailor can face. Lightning deterrent systems are little more than a placebo to make the captain feel as though he's taken measures to protect his yacht. But in reality, lightning can and will strike any boat. I've seen a $1 million catamaran with the most sophisticated lightning-proof setup known to man that took a direct hit and destroyed every major piece of electronic equipment on the boat. I've also heard of boats tied up next to each other in a marina, where one boat was greatly affected by a near strike and the next boat had no damage. Boats underway are far less likely to get hit than those anchored or in a marina, but there's no way to control if your boat will get struck or not. Sun finally came up. Still got a little bit of business happening back there. So much lightning. Didn't get any rain. A little bit of wind, but lots of lightning. Some that were striking so close to the water that it was spooky. But we didn't get in the thick of it too bad. Today's our big 70-mile push that we're attempting. Right now it says we're on track. We're doing like averaging around 5 knots, 4.8 to 5 knots speed. So we should get in kind of right at last light. We left at 5:30 this morning, so it was still dark for the first hour and a half or more of the passage. There's like so few obstacles here compared to Indonesia. Everybody kept talking about, oh, there's just so many obstacles up the Malacca Strait. And it's like, compared to Indonesia, it's a walk in the park. So, but we have these things, you know, spooky squalls. We'll see. Hopefully it stays put. There's not much wind, so maybe it's not traveling fast, but just chip off the miles, motor sailing up the strait, and hopefully in 2 days we'll be at Port Dixon, and I think we're going to stay at a marina there, Admiral Marina, for a couple days, and yeah, keep pushing. Pretty non-eventful day. Good wind earlier. Those crazy storms kind of blew out and didn't come back. And a little bit of rain, but nothing crazy. The winds kind of dropped off hour and a half ago maybe. We're 16 miles from the island. I can see it barely on the horizon. It says we should get in at 8 p.m., which is like last light, so. Slight current against us. I think looking at windy, it said, you know, like close to a half knot current against us, so that's slowed our progress over the last hour or two, 2 hours. But we're still doing okay. We're still doing over 4 knots mostly. So, going behind this big ship like anchorage, and I'll show you, this is an uncharted island that is listed on No Foreign Land, but it's not on Navionics, it's not on anything. You can't see it on satellite images. It's crazy. Like a giant uncharted sand island. It's wild that it's completely uncharted. And there's fish traps around it, which helps. But at night, you know, I mean, that's in the shallows, but it's not that far off our course. So, pretty wild. So, just chip out these last 16 miles, get the hook down, and pass out. That's the island, Palau Besar, big island. Quite a bit of swell running. We're gonna stay at the northwest anchorage, I think it's called. It's more like west facing, I think, but it's just around this point right here. There's like a little knob. I don't know if you can see that. We're gonna stay just around the corner of the island. Looks like the headland should give some protection from all of this swell. We'll see. There's no, like on No Foreign Land, there's no reference to it being like really rolly or uncomfortable. So we'll find out. We'll be getting in kind of right at dark, so I'll just get in as close as I feel comfortable getting in the dark. It looks like pretty self-explanatory, and it's supposed to be like sand mud combo bottom. So shouldn't be any coral or rocks or anything that we need to worry about. So we'll just pop in, get the hook dropped wherever we feel comfortable, and call it a night. So a squall is approaching, and we got a little blast of wind ahead of it, so I got all sail out and trimmed. And we're making 6 knots right now. We are 3 point something 6 miles from the anchorage. Super stoked about this little blast of wind. If it holds, we should get in right at dark. So hopefully we get in before the squall arrives, but we'll just handle it as it comes. As I sailed past the port of Malacca, I recalled its rich history, which began around the year 1400, when this small fishing village was transformed into a bustling port by a banished Malay nobleman who partnered with pirates and gypsies. The narrow Malacca Strait meant it was easy to control all trade traveling up and down, and within a few years, thanks to fair practices, it was turned into one of the most important trade centers in the entire world. with a population of 100,000 multicultural residents from Southeast Asia, India, China, and the Middle East. In 1511, the Portuguese took notice and took the port by force. They controlled the spice trade for the next 100 years until the Dutch conquered the port and seized the spice trade for the next 300 years, moving the main trade hub from Malacca to Batavia, modern-day Jakarta. We are approaching Admiral Marina near Port Dickson. I've been in touch with the Marina on WhatsApp for the last 2 days. They're expecting us. We've been assigned a slip that is very easy to drive into. This will be the first place we'll have to do domestic clearance. So Malaysia's strange. You have to clear in and out of every port. You can get around it to some extent by not anchoring or stopping at places that don't have harbor master. So you declare, like I declared at Puteri Harbor, that my next port was here at Port Dickson, but I anchored at 2 different islands that had no facilities, so that's how you get around not having to do it every single time. You just anchor out at islands or places without whatever. So we're going to be doing that here, clearing in. We'll do that tomorrow. It's about 6 p.m. right now, and yeah, should be cool. Looking forward to getting tied up and going to find some dinner. I spent 2 days at Admiral Marina, stocking up on food and fuel, handling my domestic clear in and out, and then left dark morning again for a 45 nautical mile passage to Port Klang. I anchored in a beautiful and peaceful little anchorage just outside the hustle and bustle of Port Klang. And the next day, I pushed on, 90 nautical miles to Pangkor Island, a 20-hour passage of motor sailing. If you enjoy the content on this channel and would like to contribute, you can consider joining the Patreon crew. Thanks for watching. Fair winds until next time.